Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's take a look at today's lesson objective. So today we will create conversion tables for units of time and use tables to solve problems. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we need to do today. So we have our table over here and we have minutes and we want to change them to seconds. Now over here I have the STAR fourth grade reference materials. So I know minutes and seconds are related to time. So let's look in the time category and see if we can find how many minutes equals, or how many seconds equals a minute. So I know that 1 minute equals 60 seconds if I look at my conversion table. So 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So if I have 2 minutes, how many seconds is that going to be? So if I have 2 minutes, each of these circles is going to represent 1 minute. In each of those circles, I have 60 seconds. So if I add 60 and 60, that's going to give me 120 seconds. Now, if I have 3 minutes, I can go ahead and add another 60, which will give me 180. And if I have 4 minutes, there's another minute, that's another 60 seconds. So that is going to give me 240 seconds. And if I have 5 minutes, that's going to be another 60 seconds. So that's going to give me 300 seconds. Now let's go ahead and look at what is the rule for converting minutes to seconds. So I added 60 each time for each minute. However, I'm adding 60 all the time. So that is repeated addition, which is multiplication. So I notice if I take my minutes and I multiply it by 60, that'll give me the number of minutes. So if I have 1 minute and I multiply it by 60, that'll give me 60. If I have 2 minutes and I multiply that by 60, that gives me 120. If I have 3 minutes and multiply that by 60, that gives me 180. And I can keep doing that over and over and over again. So my rule is my minutes, the number of minutes I have, times 60 gives me the number of seconds. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and try our next set. So now this time we are still going to focus on time because we're looking at hours to minutes. So I want to change my hours to my minutes. So let's look and see over here. So I have 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So if I have 1 hour, that's going to give me 60 minutes. If I have 2 hours, that's going to give me 2 hours. And then I'm going to go ahead and do 60 and 60. Oops, that's a weird looking one. So that is going to be 120. Now, if I have 3 hours, I'm going to add another 60 seconds. So that's going to give me 180 minutes. If I have 4 hours, that's going to give me 240 minutes. And then if I have 5 hours, that's going to give me 300 minutes. So what is the rule for converting from hours to minutes? So if this looks very similar from converting to minutes to seconds, except we have 1 hour. I'm going to multiply that by 60, and that gives me 60 minutes. What if I have 2 hours? Well, now I have 2 groups of 60. So that's going to give me 120 minutes. 3 hours, I have 3 groups of 60. That's going to give me 180 minutes. If I have 4 hours, I have 4 groups of 60. That gives me 240 minutes, and so on and so forth. So the rule for converting from hours to minutes is I'm going to take my hours, I'm going to multiply that by 60, and that's going to give me my number of minutes. Okay. All right. Now we want to convert from days to hours. So let's go ahead and look at time because days and hours are related to time. And let's see if we can see how much 1 day equals in terms of hours. So we have 1 day here that equals 24 hours. So 1 day, that's going to be 24 hours, right? So I have one group of 24 hours. If I have 2 days, it's going to be 2 groups of 24 hours. So if I had 24 plus 24, that gives me 48. If I have 3 days, that gives me 72. If I have 4 days, that gives me 96 hours. If I have 5 days, because that's another 24 hours, that is going to give me 120 hours. So let's look at what my rule could be. So if I have 1 day, that's going to give me 24 hours. Now I'm seeing that I'm adding 24 over and over again. So it's repeated addition, which is the same as multiplication. So if I have 1 day and then I multiply that by 24, that gave me 24. Now for 2 days, I have 2 groups of 24. So if I multiply 2 times 24, that gives me 48. If I have 3 days, I have 3 groups of 24. So that gave me 72. And I can keep doing that over and over and over again. So my rule for converting from days to hours is my number of days times 24. And that gives me the number of hours I have in total. All right, so let's take a look at today's lesson objective. So today we created conversion tables for units of time and use the tables to solve problems. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope this was a helpful lesson. I hope this taught you a little bit more about conversion and how to use your reference table. But I'll see you all next time and have a fantastic day. Bye, everybody.